Philippines, a simple country in Asia, but why some other countries considered the Filipinos as a race that has a real royal blood. In this video, the secrets revealed.
Assets, it's gold. It's more gold than people know about. It's over 1 million metric tons of gold. And the World Bank and the IMF have a special role to play, making sure that that money is spent to the benefit of humanity.
240 billion?
Only one shipment.
Mrs. Marcos, if we go by all of these, you are rich beyond compare.
This will save the world.
The world.
This is the reason why I want to survive. And it's not for me anymore.
The name of Ferdinand Marcos in a bank in Brussels, and it's for $987 billion. 900. Can we show the camera?
No. I started trading on gold. When he had about 6,000, 7,000 tons, he entered politics.
7,000 tons?
Yes, I have the documents.
There is a special trust that contains just about all of the world's gold. It was established by Ferdinand Marcos. This gold, people want to know what the gold is.
You're referring to the president of the Philippines, of the former president of the Philippines who died in '89, correct?
That's correct. That's who, except, it's not clear about the exact date of his death because he had a cousin who, he was removed. He was removed by the CIA. It was not by a popular uprising. You know how the CIA stages these things. And he was sent off to Hawaii, but he had expected that this was going to happen, and he had gotten his cousin to stand in for him. So it was his cousin that was in Hawaii, captive. Yeah. But anyway, what Ferdinand Marcos did was he took the world's gold. I was explaining what is the world's gold. It's gold from King Solomon. It's gold that the conquistadors in Spain gathered up from the Aztec and Inca civilizations. It is gold that was gathered by General Yamashita between World War I and World War II. And what the banks did when they gathered up the gold, they issued certificates to the wealthy people who had the gold. And those certificates had interest that was payable in gold. And the interest has been compounding. What Ferdinand Marcos did was he put the gold in a trust for benefit of humanity. And he said that the trust would be for 50 years. The reason he did this, he was a lawyer, and he knew that if somebody claims that they own something and they are not able to prove their claim for 50 years, that claim is extinguished. That's a legal concept called statute of limitations.
The late president of the Philippines, Ferdinand Emmanuel Edralin Marcos Sr., is a soldier that defended the Philippines in World War II, a war hero that became a lawyer of wealthy people, a collector and investor of golds. When he was a young man, his gold collection is over 7,000 tons and continuously increasing. During the World War II, General Hitler and his ally General Yamashita steal the golds from different countries and buried it on Philippines. After the war, the International Court approved the investigation to bring these golds back to their countries that has the rights to claim their golds. They investigate for 30 years, but there's a problem. General Hitler and Yamashita mixed up the golds, so it's very hard to identify where this golds came from. Then 30 years ended in 1976, and they still don't know how to claim these golds. The investigation extended by 10 years, after 10 years, and they still failed to claim their golds. These golds will be declared as a property of the Philippines during the investigation. Many treasure hunters from other countries wanted to steal these golds, so President Marcos declared a martial law in 1972 to protect these golds. Then the 10 years has passed. The investigation ends in 1986. The golds became Philippines' legal property. The Philippines became the richest country in the world, with over 1 million metric tons of golds. Philippines became the island of golds after the President Marcos removed the martial law in 1981. 2 years later, in a meeting in Toronto, President Marcos tells his plan that shocks the whole world. It is to create the very first Asian dollar that's supported by 100,000 tons of golds. The Asian dollar will beat all currency of all the dollars, together with 170 banks account in the world, with a deposit of over 100 billions of dollars. President Marcos' ultimate plan is to change the Philippines to Maharlika. That means a free man with a real royal blood. The new country called Maharlika will be a new superpower nation that has a mission to end the poverty and save the world. After President Marcos explained his plans, America is terrified. These will be a big problem for them. If these happened, there will be no chance for them to bring their world order, to control the world, and made the Antichrist as a leader, together with Illuminati with the help of other oligarchs. They made a plan to brainwash the people of the Philippines using the media. They say that President Marcos is a dictator and a fraud who steals money from Philippines. They sacrificed their ally Benigno Aquino and blamed his death in President Marcos. In every news and television and radio, they brainwashed the Filipinos and succeeded to expel Ferdinand Marcos. They put the Philippines to extreme poverty so they can steal the golds, because they know, whoever controls the gold controls the world, because the gold is God's wealth. But Marcos didn't let that happen. He managed to make the people of the Philippines as the beneficiary of the world's gold, and created the last will and testament, and it said that the only way to get these golds is to return the Marcos in presidency. And in 2022 presidential election in Philippines, the son of the late President Marcos, Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr., or Bongbong Marcos, is running for presidency, and because of the social media, the Filipino people knows the truth and can't be brainwashed again. In 2022, the Philippines or Maharlika will rise to save the humanity. These are the God's mission for Filipinos to save the world.
The Philippines has strategic location and also has a strategic spiritual role. Let's face it, everybody around the world needs the Philippines. They are everywhere. I always say to people, this is the commando force that God is using in order to, if you want to send a message to the whole world, come to the Philippines, talk to the Filipinos, it will go to the whole world.